great perennials for color in Nebraska in the fall is the fall blooming asters. We have a couple of different species that are available to us. Over the years, what has happened is people have really become enamored with one of the cultivars of New England aster called Purple Dome. The reason for that is, when it's in its glory, it is a complete dome of purple colored flowers. The unfortunate thing about the New England asters, however, and Purple Dome in particular, is they end up with foliar diseases early in the season and essentially become these leafless sticks. So until they begin blooming, there's not much to look at. The same thing can be true of the taller New England asters such as Harrington's Pink or even Alma Potchki. What happens with them is they get tall, they get spindly, they still are kind of pretty, but they don't have that great foliage. So a couple of things for you to keep in mind if you're going to choose those is you may have to do some treatment for diseases and or insect pests, which can include aphids and all sorts of other things, if you want to be able to get that beautiful purple flowering. They are great for attracting pollinators, there's no question about that, but most people don't want to have to look at that dreadful foliage before the flowering season begins. We're going to take a look at a couple of different species of asters that don't have nearly the foliar problems that the New England asters do. If you want a fall blooming aster that looks absolutely spectacular in the landscape and does not get those foliar diseases, instead of choosing the Nova Angliae types or the New England asters, choose Aromatic Aster, which is one of our natives as well. As you can see, it is absolutely spectacular, covered with flowers in mid to late October. There are cultivars of this that will actually bloom all the way up until Thanksgiving. The Aromatic Aster likes a bit drier conditions. It thrives in full sun. It also will take a little bit of shade, although it might open up a bit. The leaves are tiny, and that suggests that this is a plant that really does not care for a whole lot of water, and that is true. It does not get those foliar diseases from the bottom. It is absolutely beloved by the pollinators. It doesn't need any pruning or trimming to be able to keep it in these spectacular mounds. And in fact, these asters were planted late last October. They were in gallon containers, and there are only 7 plants in this space. This is an aster that does not produce seed either, so it is not one that is going to show up all over in the landscape. You can choose Radon's Favorite, which is a little bit bigger and older one, Dream of Beauty, or October Glory as 3 of the cultivars that are pretty widely available. If you don't have room for this spectacular Aromatic Aster, you can choose one of the dwarfs. This series is called the Wood series, and they come in pink and blue and purple. As you can see, they're much lower. They're also a hybrid. They have great use as an edger or in a border. They look really pretty nice mixed in with some of the later and smaller blooming goldenrods, and they're a little bit more contained for a smaller landscape. They still give you that late flowering, although the season is not quite as long usually as the Aromatic Asters. And again, they're typically a cushion that is absolutely covered with those small pink, blue, or purple flowers with the yellow eye. The pollinators love them every bit as much as they like the bigger asters, and they do work really well in a smaller space. So you have a lot of choices if you want the fall blooming asters. The bigger Aromatic Aster, the ones that are New England asters that need a little bit more moisture and do have some of the disease problems, or the smaller Exdemosis series or the Woods asters. Of course, you can always choose the ones that aren't hardy if you do want to put them in a container on your patio. If it were up to me and I wanted one in a container on my patio, I'd buy one that I could then put into my landscape for next year.